this lecture, we'll add a few more Sysout statements to the patient checkout lambda's handler function and see how the logs will appear. To do that, go to the handler function. When we process the data by reading the stream from S3, just before that, add a Sysout. Sysout reading data from S3. And we have a Sysout already after the events are processed, and these events, once they are converted to Java objects, they will be displayed in the CloudWatch logs. Here we can add another Sysout saying messages being published to SNS. Save it. And we'll leave the exceptions as it is and see how they will appear in the log, CloudWatch logs, when something goes wrong. And for something to go wrong, we'll have to provide the wrong data. We'll do that. First, let's deploy these changes. SAM build. Once this finishes, while we do the SAM deploy, do a SAM deploy. While that happens, go to the folder where you have this patient data complete flow.json. Make a copy of it, Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V in the very same folder. Right click, rename it to, at the end of it, you can add corrupt data. Open this in your text editor and get rid of the ending bracket. So now this is not a valid JSON. When our lambda is invoked, this function should throw an exception. We should see a JSON mapping exception, and let's see how the exception will appear in the log along with all the log statements we have added. Let the deployment finish. I'll pause the recording while that finishes, or it finished on time. So let's go back. Let's go to the web browser. Go to S3. We'll upload the new file that we have created with the corrupted data to S3 and check the logs. Once the data is processed, go to the patient checkout bucket, click on upload, add files, browse to the directory where you have that file. Make sure you are uploading the corrupt data JSON. Once it is uploaded, click on the upload button. Once it is uploaded, our lambda will be triggered. Now we can go to lambdas. Go to the CloudWatch logs. You can also go to CloudWatch logs directly. So patient checkout function, make sure you are going to the patient checkout function, not the bill management function. Monitoring, view CloudWatch logs. Once it is loaded, click on the log stream, the very first one right there. And you see that it looks very ugly. I'll explain why it is. If you scroll down, it has the start request ID, which you know, and here you see the new logs we have added, reading data from S3. As soon as it does that, there is an exception. That's the reason you see all this ugly data. Instead of putting the exception under one line, on one line, or under one tab, it is spread across multiple lines. This is how it appears if you don't use your own log4j logger or even the lambda context logger that is provided by AWS Lambda. If you use sysout statements, or if you simply do a system.error or e.print stack trace like this, this is how ugly your CloudWatch logs can look like. When there are exceptions, when everything is okay, the logs look great, everything will be on a new line. As you can see, the end request here, the report request, these are added by the Lambda service itself, but the exception is very hard to read in the CloudWatch log. So you will see how easy it is to use the CloudWatch default logger that is provided, the context logger, in the next lecture.